Today we are going to cut open a gas cylinder to see what's inside. Before we start having fun, it's good for us to have a scientific excuse to open this thing, learn something. After all, we could be accused. Suddenly we're just cutting the cylinder for fun, but we would never do that, right? The gas that's inside this cylinder, which we use in the kitchen, is called liquefied petroleum gas, which stands for LPG. It's a gas derived from petroleum, mainly composed of butane and propane. The name liquefied gas is a bit odd, don't you think? Because after all, if it's gas, it's liquefied. Is it a gas or is it a liquid? Initially it's a gas, but the moment you pressurize it and put it in the cylinder, it turns into a liquid. When you shake a full cylinder, you can feel the liquid sloshing inside. That's why it's called liquefied gas. This is a P13 cylinder, meaning it holds 13 units, or kilos, of gas inside. One thing about this gas that is different from what we imagine is that it has absolutely no smell at all. Yes, cooking gas has no smell. What we smell when we turn on the stove and don't light it is artificially added. It's an extra gas that is put there just to give it a smell, so we are warned when there is any leakage. Because if it had no smell at all, imagine the number of accidents that would happen because no one would know that the stove was leaking, that it's not catching fire. In 2006, near Manuel do Mundo on Marginal Pinheiros, a truck carrying smelly gas overturned with 10 cylinders of the gas. And then, the smell was so strong, but so strong, that 40 people ended up in the hospital feeling sick, vomiting because of the smell. Several companies nearby were closed, and there were a lot of schools in the region that had to close, including Felipe's, who's behind the camera. He said that his school at the time closed, and his school was 5 miles from here. And in several surrounding cities, in Embu and Itapecerica da Serra, people smelled it, just to give you an idea of how strong the smell is. In addition to the smell, which serves as a safety feature, the cylinder has another smart device that prevents explosions. Imagine the risks of having this cylinder inside homes, as fires could occur frequently worldwide. So if a house catches fire and the cylinder is inside, why isn't there a gas cylinder explosion every day? Because of this little piece here, see? This is a fuse plug. It's a screw, but it's hollow, and inside it's filled with a metallic alloy. The composition is usually tin, lead, cadmium, and bismuth. This makes it melt very easily at about 75 degrees Celsius. So in the middle of a fire, the little core of this screw will melt and the gas will escape. Then the cylinder doesn't explode, this gas will catch fire. It stays there burning for a while, but it's much better than if the cylinder exploded. Is it just me, or did you guys also feel like putting a torch here to see what happens? If it melts at 75 degrees, it has to soften immediately, right? This can save your life, huh? I would already give a thumbs up easily because it was worth clicking on this video. Now the next thing is we have already worked a bit on this cylinder. We had already released this safety pin, taken all the gas out. But I'm still afraid to put a grinder here because the grinder releases a lot of fire. And if there's any little bit of gas left inside, it won't explode or cause a fire, but it can hurt me. We need to ensure there's no gas inside. We couldn't think of anything other than filling the cylinder with water. Ideally, I should have at least 2 access points to put something inside, right? One for the liquid to enter and another for the air or gas to exit. I already have 2 accesses because one was the fuse plug that we removed and the other is the valve where the gas comes out. The problem is that this valve works as if it were a car tire valve, right? It lets the gas in, but to get it out, we need some pin to put there, which in this case is the pin that goes in the stove, right? With this valve right here. The only problem is that the cylinder's valve is made to reduce the pressure, so it makes the gas passage a bit difficult. And I would like it to flow, because otherwise it will take 5 days to fill this with water. So I think we need to find a way around it. Worse now, I've ruined the valve because it had a little pin here at the end that helped to open it. I attempted to disassemble this in every way possible. We had tried before, although it's difficult as it appears to be very sturdy. And it's good that it is the way it is, right? After all, it's a somewhat sensitive item that we have inside our homes. So let's try to fill it with water by pressing the valve manually to let the air out. And then what? How long will it take me to make this happen? Volume capacity 31.50, 31 liters. It's filling up. It's full. There's no gas, but it's making no noise inside. Oh boy. Look, there's 15 and 80 tare, plus 31 and a half. That's 46, 47, and 30. This is quite heavy. And then, huh? Is it rusty inside? Could there be something there? Some residue? Could it be painted? Is there something that we don't know about? Let's find out. Better remove the water now, otherwise it can damage the cutting disc. I think somehow it can soften the cutting disc. So I've seen that there's no gas. I'm sure this is safe. I want to see it with you guys, okay? Come here. This is what's inside a gas cylinder. There's a kilo of rust inside the cylinder. It's not possible. Look at this. The wall is much thicker than I imagined. It's about 4 millimeters. Another thing I didn't imagine is that where there is this strip around the cylinder, which we imagine is just a weld seam, it's not just that. Inside, there is a kind of a strap to make the cylinder more resistant. Just look. It has the same thickness as the wall of the cylinder. We can see it from here. The way I said it, it gives the impression that a steel hoop was placed inside the cylinder, but it's not like that. It has that strap because when the cylinder is manufactured, it is made in 2 parts. The top part that I put here in green, and the bottom part, that is this one here, is pink. The bottom part, right at its top to fit with the other, it is a bit more tapered, it is tighter. And that's what will form that belt. So one part is fitted on top of the other, and then this part is welded around to close it. And of course, this will make this area here more resistant. It works as if it were a rib, like these ribs that we see on barrels. Let's finish cutting the valve to see the inside. Look at the little pin, it fits right here. The moment the gas has pressure from inside to outside, it will lock the valve. Then, when you press it, it lets the gas out. When there's pressure, it locks. When you press it, the gas comes out. Remember when we made a pressure cooker piano? Wouldn't this be better on a gas cylinder? The gas cylinder piano wasn't successful, but now that we have an open cylinder and know that it's relatively easy to cut, please put it in the comments if you have any idea what to do with this. After all, we won't waste it. Want to keep this intense mood going? Once we found an abandoned safe and opened it in the middle using this grinder and a sledgehammer, it was pretty cool.